Thank you very much for tuning in to the well, no, not the first episode, the zero episode, the working title episode, the pilot episode of Nostalgia Birthday Party podcast. I am 50% of your host of this lovely program. My name is Mickey. This is
Leah. I am the other 50% of your hosting team, and we'd like to welcome you today. First, we'd like to tell you a little bit about ourselves, tell you a little bit what this podcast is generally going to look like, how it's going to go, and then we'll get into a few topics today. But first, Mickey.
Okay, so just to let you guys know a little bit about me, I'm probably going to be the more movie nostalgic guy on the podcast. Movies are my my life, so that's going to be my contribution to this podcast. I'm currently going through a very messy divorce with the New York Jets. So I'm not sure how things are going to get when we start doing sports episodes. I'm not in a great emotional place right now about it, but I don't know. I mean, Leah, tell them about yourself, Leah.
Well, since Mickey's going through a somewhat public divorce with the Jets, I, as the Bay Area faithful, am trying to get him to join the 49ers bandwagon this year. It would be a little bit less depressing and maybe in the end have a chance to defeat the Patriots, unless the Patriots defeat themselves first. So we can only hope. But other than sports, I do like to partake in television shows. I mostly like comedies or things that get my theory brain working. Thank you very much, Lost.
Well, so that's always like a great like icebreaker when you meet someone. Like if you ever go to like an actual party, not just a nostalgia birthday party podcast, you go like, "Hey, attractive female by the punch bowl. What do you think was happening in the last season of Lost?" It always works 100%.
And your answer to that question will make or break a friendship. I'm sorry, but I am a Lost. I support it. I look at the good at all it did as a show. So if you hate it, if you say you hate it based on the last season, I'm sorry. Feel free to yell at me on Twitter at House of LG.
House of LG. So we said, I mean, we should probably get into the first part of our podcast name, which is nostalgia. We're probably going to be tapping into like geekdom, nerdom, whatever you want to call it. And this is like a special episode because like one of the nerdiest things that happened in like quite some time just happened. I don't know if a lot of people heard about it, but this thing called Disney Plus just came out. Like the streaming like app
Oh my
stream
gosh!
thing just happened.
I didn't know.
It's like one of
Do
those things.
tell.
It's like a newsletter. Like if you sign up for a mailing list, like 500 people will know, and then they'll spread it to other 500 people. It's not really that big of a deal, but they have every Disney Channel TV show, every Disney Channel original movie, every Star Wars movie. I think they have the TV shows for Star Wars too, and all the MCU movies except for like five that are contracted to Netflix, all in one place for your viewing pleasure. It's ridiculous. It's so much content. You basically don't need anything else.
There's too much content between Netflix, between Hulu. Uh, DC has their own streaming service. Apple TV now. There's so many, but Disney Plus. It really hits that nostalgia button for people our age, I'd say, and even I mean anybody really. There's something for everybody.
It's the perfect thing because listen, if I know and it's not a big deal me saying this. I'm not going to get a girlfriend anytime soon. If you're a closeted Disney fan, this is good for you as well because like me personally. My senior year of high school, I was only really allowed to watch three channels because I lived with my grandma. It was Cartoon Network, it was Fuse, which was a music channel in New Jersey, and it was the Disney Channel. So almost all my references from the last great year of high school is nothing but Disney Channel TV shows, and they're all on this one place where I can go back and watch them in the confines of my own home. It's great.
What show would you say hits the sweet spot for you that's coming to Disney Plus? I'd say for me, when I finally subscribe, I would go back and watch Kim Possible.
Kim Possible. You can't go wrong with Kim Possible. I thought I was gonna hate that show, but I actually wound up kind of liking it. Um, I mean, it's
And they had the iconic Christina Milian song.
Call Me, Beat Me if you want to reach me. That song hasn't aged at all. But it really just points out how much of a stranglehold Disney has on media because while some people will get it for Disney, they can just be like, hey, I'm just really into Star Wars, and they have that really.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I'm sure anyone listening to this has heard of the Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it broke the internet.
Broke the internet. It's too cute.
This is the first time I think anything that's been like family friendly has ever broken the internet. This is like the first time we've all agreed on something wholesome. Like congratulations to all of us.
No offense to Kim Kardashian and her. Maybe full offense.
Man. But I mean, I think it's just really cool to have all this kind of content in one place. I mean, me personally, I'm like a serial moocher when it comes to streaming devices. So I'm mooching off of someone's Netflix, I'm mooching off of your Hulu, I'm mooching off of someone else's Disney Plus. I'm mooching all over the place. I'm not going to give any of you guys any money. But I think the first thing I honestly watched on it was the MCU movies because they're all finally in one place and I don't have to spend a K on buying all the DVDs. And that just reminded me that the new Black Widow trailer just came out.
The Black Widow is a little bit controversial, not going into Scarlett Johansson's business, but for me, I think the way that they've handled their character up until now, she came in as a sex symbol in Iron Man 2 and was underutilized the rest of the way, and then Endgame. Spoiler alert, she's gone. She's dead. She sacrificed herself, and they gave, fittingly, Tony Stark a huge send-off, but Natasha, not as much, and she was helming the team for 5 years when everyone gave up hope.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's not a spoiler alert at this point. Anyone worth their weight in gold knows that all, like, MCU movies, you have to pretty much see them within the month they come out, or the internet's going to ruin it for you. So if you haven't seen Endgame yet, I don't know what you're doing, but obviously you don't care about it.
I'm just trying to be polite here.
Well, Leah's the polite one. I'm not going to be polite about it at all. But like, I really want to point this out from the people of color standpoint because this, like, when I first heard like the name of the movie, I'm like Black Widow. I'm like, awesome. We're gonna get that Black Panther sequel like Rapido, and I'm like, oh wait a minute. Okay, so this time with black in the name, the superhero isn't actually black. Okay, and then I realized with Scarlett Johansson, I'm like, wow, we finally get an authentically Asian superhero in the MCU. I'm extremely excited about it. I don't know why it's...
If Groot makes an appearance, I think we'll call it a day. But until then...
Wait, I'm sorry, I mixed my stuff up. Scarlett Johansson is not Asian American. I apologize. I don't even know if we can edit that one out. You might have to just keep it in there.
Yeah, just as a fact, she is not Asian American.
Ugh. Well, awkward. But I saw the trailer for Black Widow, and I really liked it. I think it expands on this kind of like a Black Widow kind of universe. They're bringing in a lot of cool names, a lot of cool characters like Red Defender, Iron MFing Maiden, which is intense. You have Natasha's sister, the other Black Widow. Also, they're going to have Taskmaster as the villain in the movie, which I think is a really good villain to complement the character of Black Widow. Taskmaster, for anyone who doesn't know, can adapt to any fighting style, can use any weapon after seeing it used once, so that is kind of rowdy for fighting a professionally trained assassin or whatever. I thought the score that they used for the trailer was really good. I think it looks really fun. I think they're leaning more into the espionage kind of feel that they had for the Winter Soldier, and kind of with Civil War too. So it's kind of nodding towards what I think is the best trilogy in the MCU movies. I just can't help but feel that we're getting this movie about 5 years too late. I mean, we all kind of know with the no pun intended end game of Natasha's character is going to be. So for the first time, whether any big name actresses, directors want to admit it. MCU movies usually have a little bit at stake in these movies, but this one really won't have anything at stake.
I mean, the most we can hope for, I think, is the teasers at the end of the credits that they're going to push something about Phase 4.
Yeah, it's just interesting. The last couple of movies for the MCU, everything's been very tight and generally kind of chronological, and then you have Marvel that's kind of not Marvel itself, Captain Marvel, which went back to the '90s, which is kind of a weird kind of back tread, and then you had Homecoming after Endgame, which is kind of another weird kind of back tread. Now you have Black Widow, which is going backwards. It's just I'm not really building to Phase 4, but I mean, that being said, MCU movies for the most part are always very kind of tight and they deliver quality movies for the most part. When it comes to the big show, Marvel's
They deliver.
they deliver, yeah. You know, it's just like on the DC side, it's not really the same with the movies. I mean, anything south of Christopher Nolan's Batman Dark Knight trilogy has been kind of frisbeeable. But when you look at like the TV shows and everything, I think DC has the more quality TV shows, whereas Marvel has the TV shows, but they're not as
I
great.
can get more invested in the DC TV shows, especially for me, the Arrowverse on the CW. So you've got Arrow, obviously, first of those. You've got The Flash, you've got Supergirl, you've got Batwoman, new to the party, and you've got Black Lightning currently on air. Also, Legends of Tomorrow, except they don't truly start until January this 2020. You know what they do right for me as episodic television is you have the chance to flesh out the motivations, the character arcs, the growth. You don't get that in a 2-hour movie or a 3-hour movie. But
Or a 7-hour movie.
that's too much. Take it back.
Sorry.
But what you do get is 16 to 22 episodes to follow these characters. You get to love them, you get to hate them. So in following any one of these 6 shows, you must have heard a crisis is coming. And let me tell you, I am incredibly hyped up for this. As someone who has watched all of the Arrowverse shows this season, not just 1 or 2, give or take, I have to say, Arrow has been very impressive. They have an 8th and final shortened season, but every one of those episodes has been leading up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. That is the crossover event that begins Sunday, December 8th, 8 p.m. with Supergirl.
That's free advertising. We're not getting paid to say that. We're just doing it for you guys because we're good people.
Because we're so freaking excited. Because what Arrow has done, everything has been leading up to this. In the past, you've got Crisis on Earth X, where you go and punch a bunch of Nazis, which, okay, good for you guys. And
That's pretty cool.
yeah, you may get together once a year to punch some Nazis, but then you never mention it again. Maybe there's a throwaway line about it, but there's no lasting repercussions. But Crisis on Infinite Earths is one of the biggest comic book DC storylines you can have. And I won't go into spoilers about it, but a lot is coming. A crisis is coming.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, I think just the idea of it itself. Well, Leah and I are on like 2 different sides of this, like the seesaw on this one, because my brain just isn't really wired for kind of like episodic TV shows where you have to wait like see one episode and then you have to wait next week. I can't ingest like media like that. It just doesn't work for me personally. So I only know like a little bit about what's going on. I don't know if it's because of just the way my brain works or if I'm just used to getting everything I want at the drop of a dime, like Stranger Things, where like you'll have an entire season dropped one day and then oh that's it, done. I have to wait for the next episode. But just from the amount of cameos that I've heard are going to be in Crisis of Infinite Earths, is making me, as a person that doesn't regularly watch these 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different TV shows, it makes me, oh, this is kind of cool. Tom Welling's coming back from Smallville. Never watched Smallville, but I respect the fact that he is a long-standing...
10 seasons, him just leading up to his journey to become Superman. It was an incredible run, and he nailed the persona of Clark Kent. And Erica Durant's coming back as Lois Lane. The two of them working together. From the moment she shows up in season 4, episode 1, the two of them had excellent dynamic of frenemies to friends to eventual endgame couple. You know, even if it was just the two of them announced as guest stars for this Crisis crossover, that would be enough for me. But no, you've also got Kevin Conroy, iconic Batman animated voice, coming in as Bruce Wayne. You've got John Wesley Shipp, who's cameoed in The Flash before.
Isn't Brandon Ralph? Brandon Rolfe. The Superman and Superman Returns is coming back for this as well, and he's in Legends of Tomorrow as well. He plays the Atom.
Correct.
So he's going to be doing... I think that's pretty cool.
He's pulling double duty.
I think he got the raw deal on that one. I'm really glad that he's coming back for this.
A lot of these cameos are pulling double duty, because Erica Durant in Supergirl played Allura, Kara's mom. So we've got a lot of crossovers happening within this crossover.
It sounds like a Crisis on Infinite Earths. Oh.
And then you've got plugs for a new show, Stargirl. You've got Helena Kyle from the old WB, not very long-lived show, Birds of Prey. Ashley Scott is Helena Kyle. Huntress. You've got Jonah Hex from Legends of Tomorrow popping in. And you've got Burt Ward from 60s Batman.
Wasn't he like...
Robin.
He was Rob... Yeah. That's super camp.
Yeah, and they haven't even announced who he's going to be. That's a secret role, guys.
What I want to know, who's the top secret billionaire that's funding this? It's like Elon Musk, like somewhere like, listen, I don't care how much it costs. I'll pay it. I just want them all in this event. Every one of them. Get them all. Whoever's alive.
I have to applaud the CW. They are going all out to try and make this the biggest spectacle. And you know what? They're even going as far as the Walking Dead style. They're having a Talking Dead, an after show for at least 2 episodes that we know of so far. The first one on Sunday night, and then the one Tuesday night. You're gonna have an after show to talk about all these goings-ons.
I'm cool with that, just as long as they have a different guy hosting it than the guy that does the Talking Dead. I'll be fine with that.
Kevin Smith.
Oh, I think that's that. He's that guy that he did like a couple.
Jay and Silent Bob.
He did like a couple movies in the '90s, I think. Okay. I guess that kind of works.
I guess that works. He's a big fan of all of these, but he's a big fan, and that's all you can ask for, is to have a fan moderate something as big as this spectacle.
I'm going to tell you right now, there's only one character that is vital to Crisis of Infinite Earths, and it's Black Lightning. I'm very...
He's joining the fray. For the first time.
I'm very excited for this. I was telling Leah before we started the podcast, I was like, I just think it's, it's confusing sometimes that, black superheroes always have black in their names. Even the villains, like Black Mantis from Aquaman. Then there's Black Panther. And then, those are only two, like, the Black Lightning. And it's like, it's just like, why can't it just be like Lightning or Panther or Mantis? And I'm like, us black people do kind of do that a lot. Like, that's, it's not Thanksgiving, it's Black Thanksgiving. It's not Twitter, it's Black Twitter. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. All right. So I think it's awesome, the timing of all this. And the reason why we wanted to do this podcast right now is because the timing of everything, the timing is perfect. You got Disney Plus. You got the Black Widow trailer. Most importantly, you have Crisis on Infinite Earths. But there's one more thing happening this weekend that's more important than all of that, and it is LG over here's birthday. So this is literally a nostalgia birthday party podcast. This is it. This may never happen again.
For another year. Or a couple months. For your birthday.
I forgot, like, birthdays happen every year. I thought it was kind of like a leap year thing. Like, once every 4 years, you, like, get another age, and then that's... I'm going through a lot. I'm going through a divorce. But it is LG's birthday this weekend, so...
So, thank you, Mickey, for that shout-out of an actual nostalgia birthday party happening, mine.
Because you're so casual about it, you know? It's kind of my birthday, like, dude, you should be wearing, like, a bow tie right now, and, like, a top hat, and, like, something with glitter on it. It's your birthday.
But I think it's a good time to talk about what Nostalgia Birthday Party Podcast actually means.
All right.
So, guys, what we want to do with you is have a little chat every once in a while about split this up. Sports, split this into geek fandom things, certain fandoms. We won't get into all of them.
Nothing creepy.
Nothing creepy, please. And every once in a while, we'll have some special segments. One of them, which we'll call Opportunities, is I will compile a list of evidence of text or subtext about a couple on a show, a movie, what have you, that reasons why they should be a couple. Opportunities that are missed, usually. And then we will have our nostalgia segment, which is Mickey going into what he loves about...
anything that's pretty much happened 20 years ago.
So maybe keep a lookout for an episode of 10 Things I Hate About You, because he loves to go into that. But after that, just stick with us, guys, and we'll talk about things. We'll engage with you on Twitter, on Instagram.
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow me, Mickey, on VHS. That's on IG or Twitter. You can follow Leah on Twitter at House of LG. Once again, we just want to thank you guys for listening to the 0 episode of the Nostalgia Birthday Party podcast. We had an extravagant time. We hope you had a good time. Hopefully this makes your commute a little bit better. Just to kick it and be nerds with us. So is there anything else you want to say, Leah, before we let these nice people go and start enjoying your birthday that's actually happening right now?
No, I think I should actually start enjoying this birthday party that I have right now.
I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to start enjoying the birthday party right now. You guys have a lovely, nerdy, nostalgic day. Bye.